I'm Dustin Harder, and this is Keep On Cooking.
Hello and welcome to Keep On Cooking, the only podcast dedicated to plant-based cookbooks. I'm your host, Dustin Harder, and don't you all worry about it. He's just a Choctaw County affair. It's my husband and producer of the podcast, David Rossetti. How you doing, D-Row with the low?
D-Row with a low is doing so.
Mighty fine.
Mighty fine.
How do?
I do good. How do you?
I do. We just watched Reba McEntire's The Hammer on Lifetime about a week ago, and she was real big on saying how do.
Yeah, how do?
And like every scene.
No nonsense judge
with the hammer. The gavel.
Down the hammer.
If you're been listening for a while, you know I love Reba McEntire, and now I've gotten this guy onto the Reba McEntire machine, so I'm here for it.
On the Reba train.
The Hammer, I mean, I think you got to really love some Miss McEntire to tune in, and we did. So there you go.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I don't know.
I mean,
it's entertaining.
You could drive some Mack trucks through the holes in that plot line, but
script for sure. But
that's probably normal for any Lifetime movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't watch a lot of them, so I wouldn't know, but I guess
that's what it's known for.
Par for the course there. Yeah. Anyway, we're here today talking about vegan fast food by Brian Watson, aka Watson, aka The Burger Dude. It's actually just The Burger Dude. So it's spelled Thee Burger Dude on social media and website.
But it's The Burger Dude.
Well, yeah, he had to take the double E because The Burger Dude was taken. But all this time I've thought it was The Burger Dude. And he was like, well, I was talking to him. He's like, well, that would be a little pretentious. I'm like, doesn't matter. I loved it. I thought
a little bit more like The Burger Dude.
I thought it was great. I mean, if you're going to be The Burger Dude, why not be The Burger Dude? Am I right? Because I think he kind of is. I mean, he's amazing, truly, if you follow his social media.
This book is amazing.
Well, and when do you remember when we first got it in the mail and I was like, I'm not going to make anything from this. I was like, oh, it's just,
and then he made so many things from it.
I dove right in. I couldn't help myself. The first thing I did was the Domino's pizza with the homemade mozzarella.
Which
pan pizza.
You have to do that pan pizza.
And it was so good. And the mozzarella was ooey gooey and like stretchy delicious and like it was just delicious. And then crazy bread.
Always.
Also, little pillowy puffs of yumminess. And then this one I did because we had a friend visiting from out of town and I had some tofu on hand. We always do. But I had been you got to do some double freeze action with it to get the texture of the chicken nugget. So I had been freezing it on and off. And then I was like, oh, the time has come. It's time to do it. And we had a non-vegan in the house. And I was like, how great is this? Let's try it on him. And then it had the Sawsum sauce with it.
Now, please, shout out to us. Sawsum sauce. That is not a sauce. And I am a sauce
connoisseur.
Aficionado. Aficionado. It's French. And I had never heard of Sawsum sauce, and I love any kind of sauce. It's like a different journey for your mouth. But anybody else, Sawsum sauce? Well, please let us know.
Because what are you asking? Had they ever heard of it? I had never heard of it.
Have you heard of it? Do you know what it is?
I don't. Yeah.
It's like what's in it?
I had never when I came upon this, so it's in the Wendy's chicken nugget recipe, the Sawsum sauce, and I had never heard of it. So that's where I was like, is this something that came about since
or is it
after I'd gone vegan?
Or is it Wendy's in a specific part of the country? Do they have a different sauce?
Well, and he even says in the header, he's like, I know it seems weird, but I promise it's delicious. And also we can attest now, we promise it is delicious. It is ranch, barbecue sauce, hot sauce, Dijon mustard, yellow mustard, maple syrup, vegan Worcestershire sauce, and then some xanthan gum, which is optional, of course. That's just a thickener in there.
It's kind of like the suicide of, the drink, the suicide of sauces.
And when he says that, he's referring to the movie.
Suicide.
What's the movie?
Well, no,
Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
Suicide is you go and add each one.
Oh, is that actually referred to as a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought she just made that up in the movie Barb and Star go to Vista Del Mar.
There used to be a Rossetti's Pizza restaurant in Jersey.
Now
Rossetti's
defunct.
Pizza, and you would make a suicide. You would go down the line on the little machine, and if you added all of them, that was I don't know why it's called that, but it was I made a suicide. It was so cool.
Yeah, I don't want to say that word anymore. And also, but I thought it was from the Barb and Star movie because she makes that in the beginning.
Well, yeah, no, she does.
And now I get that was a thing.
But it's actually a thing, yeah.
All right. Well, there you go. So this sauce is
Sawsum. It is
awesome.
awesome and sauce.
It's awesome, and it is delicious. And it was a shock. It was a shock. I was like, what am I putting together? And then I was like, oh, yummy.
But the other shock was double freezing the tofu does really give it that little extra texture,
That like chicken
chickeny,
nugget
like
texture.
texture, and it was like
110%.
kind of worth it for the
squeeze. It's a double freeze, and then you got to press it, I think. But yeah, very, very good. And listen, Brian Watson, also known as Watson, he's been vegan since March 2018, and ever since has been veganizing his favorite foods along with some dishes he hasn't had since he was a kid, and also things he's never had at all. One of his goals is to veganize the entire Whataburger menu, despite the fact that he's never even eaten there.
Nice. And he used to eat a lot of meat and dairy. He says that literally every meal had at least dairy or, usually meat. Maybe sometimes he wouldn't have like meat for breakfast, for his health.
For health reasons.
Which is hilarious.
We'll take the meat out for health reasons.
But he used to have barbecues just about every Sunday and make hot dogs, burgers, tri-tips. I mean, you name it. So like, this is what a journey.
Yeah. And if you're new to veganism and don't know where to start, or if you're totally new to cooking or new to both, his content over at The Burger Dude, 2 E's, THEE, burgerdude.com is just for you. It will excite you with the possibilities and also inspire you to cook.
Yep, just like his website and social media accounts, his new cookbook, Vegan Fast Food, creates a drool-worthy experience just by flipping through it. Forget the drive-through. In Vegan Fast Food, you'll find mouth-watering junk food and comfort food classics, minus the meat and dairy.
So whether you're a brand new vegan, missing buffalo wings, or a longtime vegan tired of the limited vegan options when eating out, Watson has been there. In fact, few food bloggers have thought more about what textures, taste, and special sauces make iconic dishes so addictive. In this book, he takes you on a tour through national chain favorites, regional cult classics, and even a few nostalgic dishes perfect for parties, potlucks, or any Saturday night. It was a treat to have him on the podcast. I hope you enjoy this interview with Watson of The Burger Dude, featuring this cookbook, Vegan Fast Food. All right, he's the man with the delicious vegan plan. He makes the dull delicious and the crap credible. It's The Burger Dude, and author of Vegan Fast Food, Brian Watson, or also known as Watson, is here on the podcast today. Welcome to Keep on Cooking, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm stoked you're here, and we're going to get into your icebreaker question right away. Do you have a favorite piece of clothing that should have been tossed by now? And if you do, what is it, and why haven't you tossed it out?
So I'm actually really good at like getting rid of stuff that I don't wear like every year, but I do have kind of a collection of old white t-shirts that have a lot of holes in them because they're just really comfortable. It's not because I like wearing holey shirts. It's just I can't find any that are as comfortable as those. So I probably should throw them out. I eventually do once it gets to the point where they're like, it just looks like once I can do like the Hulk Hogan thing and like rip the shirt, I do it basically.
Sure. No, I get that. Mine is actually the same. Mine is a shirt I've had since it has to be like 13 years now. And it's just a t-shirt that's full of holes and it's just super comfortable. But I also know when I put that shirt on, I'm not going anywhere. So it's
Correct.
sort of that.
Or it's an undershirt at best.
Right. At best. Mine can't serve as that. Mine has all these like weird designs on it and everything. So, but I do know when I put it on, I'm like, well, I'm staying put. I'm not going anywhere today. So it gives me that
house
sort
shirt.
The house shirt, the comfort feelings. Well, you've been vegan since 2018 and veganizing the world's favorite foods ever since. But how did it start for you? Was cooking part of your history before you went vegan? And then how did it all spiral into the Burger Dude that you are today?
Yeah, no, I didn't really grow up cooking. I got into it in like my mid 20s. I decided I needed to start, figuring out how to cook things more complicated than just like mac and cheese and spaghetti. And I actually started watching a lot of Chef John. And he was kind of the one who taught me how to cook. And after that, I started getting into barbecuing and, obviously burgers and stuff. And yeah, that's basically it. I just really liked cooking at home. I liked, going out to eat. I've always been really into food. And yeah, growing up, it was very like standard American diet sort of stuff. You know what I mean? So I was definitely raised on a lot of the stuff that I'm veganizing now. And then throughout my 20s, yeah, I would just hit up Jack in the Box and Carl's Jr. and all these places late at night after, you know, drinking and stuff like that. And it's just been something that I've just gravitated towards for as long as I can remember.
It's what people are always afraid they're going to be without the sort of stuff you create. And it resonates for me because when I started in like 2014 with the vegan roadie, and I was always trying to find like the vegan mac and cheese and the burgers and to tell people like, it's okay. You're going to be okay. It's going to be all right. So your everything you post, I mean, I was just looking at your feed today, such amazing things. And it all is fairly simple too, which is no easy task ultimately, because you're figuring out all the hard stuff for everyone. I've attempted to do, you know, a lot of the fast food items, and I always feel like I overcomplicated them. But everyone should follow him. If you're not, of course, you can check him out at theburgerdude.com. And I told you I was gonna say the. So everyone, I'm saying the because it's THEE, but Watson has told me it's because the Burger Dude was taken. So I feel like it's the Burger Dude. To me, he's the Burger Dude, but it's the Burger Dude with 2 E's, theburgerdude.com, or of course, the Burger Dude on social media. And now you have this outstanding book. So we've got vegan fast food, and I'm literally obsessed with this. I'll ask you to do this, but it's in the title. Give us a little summary of the book here, if you will.
Sorry. The book. Sorry, my light went out. Give me 1 second. There we go. The summary of the book is it's literally, for the most part, it's just fast food copycats. There's a few like what is there? Like Red Lobster. I got the Red Lobster biscuits in there. I don't know if you'd consider Red Lobster fast food. It's more of like sit down, casual, or whatever.
Well, I think of those foods. I think of that also as like a chain food, right? So fast food, chain food. I think it falls a lot in this. It all aligns there.
Yeah, it's all kind of in the same sort of a genre. I feel like one is just you can get one in your car, I guess. But yeah, that was essentially it. You know, when we were brainstorming with my publisher, it was essentially just let's figure out like enough things that are really popular, but I kind of wanted to go and get like some more regional places as well, just because I think that's something that I'm very interested in, is like what is super popular in like Wisconsin. Every place has not only their like super regional burger places, but they'll have like regional chains. Like Whataburger, for instance, is only really in or Texas and a couple of the other states around Texas. So things like that I was very interested in exploring as well.
I noticed that you have a good variety of that in there, because I was thinking of that. You are in California now, I think. Is that correct?
I've always Southern California I've been 45 now, and I've always been in Southern California.
So you were never in the Midwest or anything. So you really had to dig around to look for some of this stuff, because I feel like you do have like a good variety in this book of stuff from different locations.
Yeah, and I mean, I love that. I love researching stuff like that. It's like I could just do that all day, just like look up, what are people eating in Minnesota or whatever, what I mean? That sort of stuff super fascinating to me.
Well, you also do something with this book that I sort of love. You cut right to it. There's some books I think need and deserve long intros, but this like really gets right into literally the vegan meat of the matter. And I love that you get into cooking with fantastic chapters from burgers and chicken sandwiches, fast food favorites like McDonald's McRib, even finger foods, breakfast and desserts. But before we dive right into this book, I do have a question for you I ask this of everyone. What was your first vegan cookbook you had, or you can name both, your favorite vegan cookbook that you've cooked the most out of?
It's probably it was definitely, the first ones were definitely, I don't remember who was first, but it was either Edgy Veg or Lauren Toyota Hot for Food. Those were the two books. Like I think it was that, and then also like when the Beyond Burger came out is when I started to really go like, okay, I can figure this out. Like I can make this. I don't have to stop eating the stuff that I like to eat.
Yeah, for sure.
And then as far as the ones that I probably Lauren's books are the ones that I cook from the most.
They're so good. Have you made the apple fritters from the first one by any chance?
No, but I know that
Oh,
my wife
good.
would love that.
Oh, they're
probably.
so good. I make them and then I give them to my husband when he's working on a show, and I'm like, get these out of the house, take them to the cast, get them out of
Oh,
here, feed them to
yeah,
people.
that was the fun thing about this book was when I was cooking, when I was like the Cinnabons, the cinnamon rolls. When
Yeah.
I made those, I sent her to work with those, and
Yep.
all of her coworkers were like, "This is better than Cinnabon," and I was like, "Oh, this is great." They're like they're recipe testing it for me essentially.
Exactly. Giving you that feedback. I do have a tester who works on my books, and she'll take them around her apartment building. She'll take stuff around and like just feed it to non-vegans and sort of get their reaction, which is good because
Yeah.
sometimes she's like, you need to change this. This did not go over well. I'm like, okay, great. Thank you. Or we'll just cut it completely.
Yeah, I
Uh,
give it to we live in a back house, so we have neighbors, and they have 2 kids, and so if the kids like it, then I'm like, okay, I know it's good, because the kids are like, they're kids,
Yeah.
they're very picky
Yeah.
eaters.
Yeah, and they'll tell you the truth. That's like the
Oh,
best
yeah.
part about that. Well, we'll dive right in on chapter 1, Vegan Kitchen and Deli, which sets us up with some staples like bacon, burger patties, ground beef, cheese sauce, and condiments like vegan ranch and vegan honey mustard. Because everyone listening, honey's not vegan if you're listening. You have 2 patties in here, a TVP seitan patty, and old-fashioned black bean burger. Give us a glimpse into what the difference is here for the home cook.
So the main idea behind all of these was to just kind of give a primer, because a lot of the recipes throughout the book are going to be, there's a lot of burgers, obviously, and we felt it was, important to have some homemade ones because not everybody has access to Beyond or Impossible or wants to use them. And that was basically, I just wanted to give people the options. Like that was the very important thing for me, was to try and make this book, because that's one thing about a lot of vegan food that people say is it's, oh, you got to use all these weird ingredients and this stuff isn't here. And people still complain. I tried to do my best and I still get complaints. People are like, oh, I live in like Slovenia and I can't find any of this stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know what they have in Slovenia. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I'm doing my
it's
best.
I tried to use like as much as I could. But what's great is I want to start doing that even more and trying to get into ways that if you don't have access to like vegan beef broth, how do you make it? Can you make it
Sure.
with some soy sauce and some garlic powder or whatever the thing that might be? So for me, it's always about figuring out ways to make these things even more accessible, because ultimately that's going to just benefit everybody,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Sorry, I kind of went on there.
no, but I agree with you. I mean, you're speaking to my heart when it comes to food. The whole reason I've been doing anything that I do with food is just to like say, hey, it's accessible and like help people be able to do it, So I
Yeah.
get it 100%. It looks like rice paper is your sort of ingredient of choice for bacon in the book. We have variations available out there from tofu, eggplant, carrot, tempeh, and you settle on good old rice paper variation. I love me some rice paper bacon, so I know my reasoning, but I'm curious why it landed on that for you.
Because I've tried a bunch of those and this was the most like foolproof one, I guess. The one that was like I did it the first time I tried it, I was like, oh, that was relatively easy. I like that you can like the way that I like to make it. I know a lot of people put it in the oven. I like to actually fry it like bacon because you can see it cooking like right there. You don't have to worry about overcooking or undercooking it. And just like, regular bacon, you can cook it to super crispy or a little bit of chewy. Like it's just, I guess that's the main point for me, was that it was just like the easiest one. So I figured we should just put that in the book, since that's, if someone's going to be making bacon from anything, I feel like rice paper is the way to go. Because I've tried doing it with seitan and like starch water from like washing the flour, and
Right.
there's just a lot of room for error. So that was kind of my whole thing, was like, what can we do to make this as easy as possible?
Do you have a I'm not starting any fights here, but do you have like a store-bought vegan bacon that you prefer over other ones by chance?
I like the all vegetarian bacon. I don't know if you're familiar with them.
Oh, it's got the strips, it's got the stripes in it, and it's got yeah. I have had that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony, there's this guy Tony who runs that business. He's been running it since like the 90s, and they were providing vegan bacon to a lot of vegan restaurants. And I would always see it and be like, I've never seen that in the store. And then I can't remember how I came upon it, but he has a factory like 20, 30 minutes away from my house. So I just wrote him and said, hey, can I come by? Because it's not available in stores. You either have to buy it online. And even back then, you had to be a restaurant. He only did wholesale.
Right.
So I went in and I bought it. And he's a super great guy. I like the Hooray bacon. It's expensive. It's like $10.
Oh, yeah, I have had that too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to cook. You have to like really be very gentle with it. It will break apart. Those are the only two I can think of off the top of my head that I really
Have you
like.
had the I think it's by Think Foods and it's bacon with a K. It's newer. Have you had that one yet?
Oh,
It's good. It's a little thicker, but it's it's smoky and it's crispy and but it's a little on the thicker side, not as thin. But anyway.
the Thrilling Foods bacon is good too. That's like a thick cut bacon with like the black pepper on the sides.
Actually, I think that's the Thrilling Foods. I think that might actually be the name.
Is that what you're
Not
thinking of?
Think. Yeah, I think that's the one. Yeah, it's tasty.
They're pretty good too.
Yeah, I ask because I feel like in the plant-based bacon world, all these options I agree are good. I'm just like I feel like there's not like an Impossible or a Beyond yet where you're like, oh, that's it, that's bacon. You know, they're getting so close.
I want to see. Yeah, I want to see like one of them come up with a bacon that's on the same level as their burgers, and I want to see like a non-fried chicken like patty sort of thing, like something that you can make like a grilled like chicken thigh or something like that, because the only way you can get that now, I feel like, is like wash that flour or seitan. You know, sometimes mushrooms can kind of mimic it, but there isn't really like a Beyond chicken breast or something like that. You know,
yeah.
what I mean?
My favorite to make, when you said mushrooms, I just thought of bacon, but it's not like a bacon strip. It's like, I like the shiitake bacon because it's so like crispy, but it's like a salad topper. It's not like here, I'm going to serve this bacon on a sandwich or
but you know, I think for me, I never ate bacon like by itself. I would always have it in a sandwich or something. So I think in that context, the mushroom bacon is totally great.
Sure. Yeah. Bacon, everybody. Go out and tell us what your favorite bacon is if you're listening here. Well, chapter 2 is burgers and chicken sandwiches featuring popular items people will recognize, like the Wendy's Baconator, McDonald's Big Mac, KFC Nashville Hot Chicken Sandwich, and the In-N-Out Burger Double Animal Style. Now, for those listeners not familiar with In-N-Out and Animal Style, please enlighten.
I just released a video for this because the first video I did was like 3 years ago and it was awful, so I had to redo it.
Time to revisit.
An animal style burger. The legend behind it is that like in the 60s there was these surfer dudes who would come in and they were like crazy surfer guys, and they were like, put grilled onions on my burger and grill the patty in mustard. And they were like, wow, these animals really like their burgers a certain way. And that's why it's called animal style.
I never knew the
it's
story
just a
behind
regular In-N-Out burger, but with, you put mustard on the patty before you flip it. So the mustard like hooks into the burger.
All right.
And then a bunch of grilled onions and then extra sauce and pickles.
All
and
right.
That's an animal style burger.
Yeah, I knew it was on it. I didn't know what the background story was. So that's interesting to hear. I also saw your video recently from the menu, which I enjoyed very, very much. So see, everybody, go follow. Lots of great content over at the Burger Dude. Do you have a favorite burger or chicken sandwich in this chapter?
Well, yeah. You know what was kind of a surprise for me, because I've never had it in before going vegan, was the Whataburger patty melt. That was actually insanely good.
So what's on a Whataburger patty melt?
The Whataburger patty melt is on Texas toast, which is just white bread that's like twice as thick as a normal slice.
Delicious.
2 patties, cheese, and grilled onions, or caramelized onions, just like the In-N-Out burger. And then their creamy pepper sauce, which is essentially like a really good Chipotle mayo.
All right. Okay.
And
I'm into it.
It works perfectly. That was my favorite burger. I was very, and that's a very popular burger over there, and I can understand why.
I mean, anything with that starts out with Texas toast is the, holder for it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. That's great.
It's funny because I didn't know about Texas toast until after I went vegan. I actually got I got more into burgers after going vegan.
Interesting. And now look at you. Look at that. Do you eat? So, I mean, obviously you're creating content and all that, but are you ever Are you kind of like sick of burgers now, or are you like, oh, I crave this burger? Like,
I go through what I call burger benders, where I'll where like for instance, when I was doing last week when I was doing the In and Out, basically whatever video I come out with that week, I was basically eating that 3 or 4 days in a row
yeah,
before the
yeah,
video came
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Not only because I, am doing it for research to try and make sure that the recipe is as good as possible, but because it's just delicious and I have a ton of leftovers that I have to eat.
Yep.
So
Yep. Gotta get through it. I get it. Fridge is always full. And
yeah.
what's you stick to the names in this book so that it is indicated. We know exactly what everything is, which I love. But is there some sort of a rule in using like the actual names of the sandwiches from the brands and all of that? How does that all work?
So yeah, so I don't know if you'll notice, but we're only saying the name of the thing, I think in the title. Yeah, in the title. It's just the title. So I don't know what the actual like legality of it is. I think essentially what it comes down to is you can't make it seem like the company like condoned or like is like behind the book, right? So you can't
Mm-hmm.
make it seem like even though I do a few like McDonald's and Taco Bell things, this shouldn't appear like this is sanctioned by Taco Bell.
Sure. Sure.
So you can't go over the top with it. You can mention it, I feel like, in the title, but if you look, I don't think I call it what it is. And like that was the thing when we were editing the book, was I would call something like In and Out sauce, and he would say, "We got
Yeah.
to change that to special sauce." Fine, whatever. So it was that kind of thing where
Ah.
it couldn't appear like In and Out was like, "Yeah, we want this guy to put our recipe in this book."
Right. Yeah, I'm flipping through right now, and I can see now it's all everything. It's got, and that's why I say it's so easy for us to pinpoint. Like, if somebody like Sonic, they're gonna be able to get up in here and look up Sonic food. So that's just a nice touch to that people are able to sort of navigate that so easily. Chapter 3 is fast food favorites, and I made the Domino's pan pizza from here with the mozzarella from scratch that melted so perfectly and gave me that ooey gooey sort of stretch I remember with this pizza so well.
Nice.
And I also love that you have some Taco Bell featured here with the Crunch Wrap Supreme and cheesy gordita crunch. For someone just getting the book, what is a recipe from this chapter you would tell them to make first
From the
if
fast
they're
food
just
favorites?
picking up this book? Yeah.
Oh man, I guess it would depend on your own personal sort of history with this food, but if it was me, I think bang for your buck, like as far as like the thing that's the easiest, that is the tastiest, is probably the cheesy gordita crunch, I would say.
Yeah.
That's the one that has like the least path of resistance, I feel like, and like the lowest learning curve. Um,
Sure.
all the other ones are a little bit more involved, and yeah, I think the cheesy gordita crunch. Do you want to hear a funny story about the cheesy gordita crunch?
Absolutely.
Do you know who Joshua Weissman is?
Uh-uh.
He's a very popular YouTube cook.
Okay, great.
Probably like after binging with Babish, he's like the next like most popular. Anyways, he did a cheesy gordita crunch like I don't know, this 3 or 4 months or so ago, and he did this thing where he, the whole like expectation versus reality, where they show a picture of like what the cheesy gordita crunch looks like when you order it versus like the promo shot.
Sure.
So he did that, but when he used the promo shot, he's like, "This is what it's supposed to look like." He used a picture of my cheesy gordita crunch, not even like the official Taco Bell one. It was mine. I remember watching the video and like that it came up. It's only up for like a second or less, but I like paused it. I was like, "Wait a minute, I recognize that."
That's awesome.
And I just thought that was funny. I was like, "That's a vegan." Like he's saying this is what it's supposed to look like, and it's the vegan one. So I was like, I tricked you guys.
Yeah, it's the vegan version. But truly, these photos are taken. You have your own style with it, but it's obviously modeled after. I do want to talk about the photos a little bit because everybody, you did all the photos. Is that correct?
Yeah.
My goodness. But it is just like it makes you think of fast food. So even just the lighting on them, but then also the simplicity of them, it makes you go right there. So I'm not surprised by that. But when you got into this, were you just like pulling from different fast food places and trying to really go for that look so people would recognize it?
Kind of, yeah. There's actually a Instagram account called Joe's Vegan Food Gram.
Yep.
And he he takes all of his photos on a white background too. And excuse me. And when I was kind of first getting into this, I really liked his stuff. And to be honest, I kind of just like was mimicking him.
Sure.
And then on top of that, I remember there was like, I can't remember if it was Carl's Jr. or Burger King, but one of them started coming out with these really like vibrant ads where it was just the burger on a white background. And I'm like, I really like, because like I feel like, you know, it was really born out of laziness actually, because I was trying to do all of the thing with like where you prop it out and you try to make it look, and I was just having such a hard time with that. And I just thought, you know, if I just do the white background, that's a lot easier. And then on top of that, I can like, if I want to, then afterwards compose a scene. And I do this all the time. I'll take pictures of all the stuff separately on a white background. And then in Photoshop, I can move it around. And it's great because so many times you'll take a photo and you're like, God, I wish I would have had that spoon angled a little bit.
Sure.
Right. Or whatever. And now I can do that.
Yeah. No, it's great. And I was thinking that too, how to start it off that way, then you've put yourself in a place where you're like, I just have to pull out the white backdrop. This is, instead of like styling constantly and having to get new props or new surfaces and all that stuff like that. So it's a smooth move, I would say.
It is cool. It's a bit of a, I did kind of not shoehorn. I kind of pigeonholed myself. I remember one time I tried on YouTube to try a different kind of thumbnail without the white background, and that video just tanked. And then I changed it to the white background, and then it went back up. So
that's amazing.
It's what people expect from me, I guess. Now
that's what they know. And I mean, pigeon help, but like, thank goodness at the same time. So then you can just sort of like keep the content rolling and not have to stress about that other stuff. But I hear you. You know, and if you want to get more creative, do some other stuff, then do you. Who cares then? Who cares? People will see it eventually.
Yeah.
Before I move on to the next chapter, I kind of want to like go through this fast food favorites list for everyone. We got the McDonald's McRib, Subway's meatball sub, Chipotle burrito bowl, McDonald's filet of fish, Panda Express Kung Pao chicken, Taco Bell Crunch Wrap I mentioned, Taco Bell cheesy gordita crunch we talked about, Taco Bell Mexican pizza, Panera white cheddar mac and cheese, and then everyone, like I said, I made that Domino's pizza. It was ridiculous. And it's so interesting, you said when you started this, you were like, well, I guess I would suggest to someone, it kind of like depends on what you grew up with and what you were thinking. Because I opened this and I got this book. I was like, I don't know what I'm going to make. And immediately was like, ooh, no, I'm going to make that because I remember it, you know? And I was like, oh, I want to try this variation of it. So I understand that sort of notion on that completely.
Awesome. Yeah. I wish I would have had a chance to do the Domino's pizza that I always ate was the spicy Hawaiian. Do you remember that one?
Never. What's on it? Is it bacon and pineapple?
Pepperoni, jalapenos, and pineapple.
That sounds delicious. I'm all for pineapple on pizza. I know that's a polarizing topic.
You do or don't?
I'm here for it.
So I just saw somebody doing a video where they said they think pineapple goes on pizza, but only in certain instances, and it's when it's crappy pizza and when there's something like salty and spicy on it. And I was like, exactly.
I mean that
you have to have like certain things, because if you just had a cheese pizza with pineapple on it, that's kind of weird, you know. But you have these other elements and everything kind of balances itself out, you know.
Well, and you said what, pepperoni and jalapeno are on that? I'm here for that. That sounds delicious.
Yeah, you got salty, spicy, and sweet. Those are like the three best things to put together.
Yeah, very good. Next chapter we have is finger foods, and I made the Wendy's chicken nuggets out of here as well. Sort of nice. I made it sort of on a whim because I love the pizza so much, and I had tofu laying around, so I made it. And you know, I had a house guest in town who's not vegan, and he loved them. So again,
I love that.
Just a little tip of the hat there. And
did you make the sauce too?
I was just gonna say I made the sauce, but I had never heard of it before that. Was that like a new product they'd come out with? I've been vegan now 12 years, so I had never had it previously. But maybe
I'd actually there's a few of these. I would say probably like 25-30% of these things I've never had, and I had to just kind of go off of like what I imagined they would taste like.
Which blows my mind because they're spot on.
Yeah, I can't remember where I think I was just looking up. You know, there's a few sites where you can like look up like what are the most popular things at such and such place. And that's the Sawsome sauce came up, and I was like, what is that? It's kind of like Chick-fil-A sauce. It's like a cocktail of like barbecue, and they're just kind of like, let's just put all of it together and see what it tastes like.
Yeah. It's like what, barbecue ranch? I can't remember.
I think it's just like barbecue, mayonnaise, mustard, and some other stuff.
Yeah,
Some
it
pickles.
was fair. I was reading it and I was like, what the hell kind of sauce is this? But then your header, I think, says something like, I know it seems weird, but like give it a go. And I
Yeah.
did. And like we were like, we ran out of the sauce. We were like, there's not more, we need more of the sauce. We need more of the sauce. But there's not more of it. I also made the crazy bread when we're talking about things we gravitate towards. I mean, crazy bread. I love it. It's you know, again, I resonate with this in a certain way. My second book, Epic Vegan, had a version of crazy bread in it and a version of the Red Lobster biscuits. So it's like this book is everything. Like, but yours are better. They're easier. They're easier to accomplish, and they taste so good. And I just like I had to attack the crazy bread recipe, and I wasn't disappointed. You know,
Thanks. I love that.
pillowy bread of goodness topped with some garlic butter, vegan parm. Everybody, make you the crazy bread. And what are a couple finger foods from here that for you that just had to be in this chapter? Like, what's something from maybe your youth where you were like, oh, well, obviously this has to go in there?
Definitely the Jack in the Box stuffed jalapenos. I used to eat those those I ate all the time. The Buffalo Wild Wings. I remember when Buffalo Wild Wings came, because I don't think that was originally. I don't know if that's from the Midwest or from Texas or Buffalo, but I remember when it came out to California, I loved that place because it was just like, I don't know, like I don't want to say it's not trashy, but it's just kind of like,
I mean, you can if you want to.
it's a very it's I don't know, it was like I didn't care about sports, and it was just like, I don't know, it just felt like kind of like it felt like something out of like Idiocracy, and I just
Sure.
and I was like, and it also it's pretty good, like it's garbage food, but it's also like when you have a couple beers and you're just eating these wings, and then there's just like, and I love going to sports bars when there's like a big game, not because I want to watch the game, but because I love watching the people.
Sure.
I love watching people go, like when they get mad or they get really happy. Like, I don't know. I just, for some reason, that was like very like comforting for me.
I
So
got it.
wanted
I
to
got
make
it.
those as well.
Yeah, for me it was the beer with the wings back in the day.
Yes. What was that?
I said for me it was the beer with the wings back in the day. That was I
Yes,
was
yes,
like,
yes.
oh, we'll have some beer and some wings. But I do love this just I mean TGI Fridays, mozzarella sticks. We got Sonic onion rings, the Cheesecake Factory fried mac and cheese.
Yeah,
I worked at the Cheesecake Factory once
you
upon a time.
did.
That menu is
Is
ridiculous, and I had
it
to go through
is.
like 2 weeks of like just hellish like school like training where we like sat at desk for like a whole week long, and then we had to like wait tables the next week. It was insane. But Cheesecake Factory is insane. They have vegan options now.
I was looking at, I can't remember what place it was, but it was a place similar to Cheesecake Factory. And I was looking at the menu and I was like, this could be a cookbook. Like this could be like just veganize this entire menu
100%.
because you have
the whole cookbook. Yeah, it's bananas. Cheesecake is insane.
Cheesecake Factory is. I used to go there. I used to work at a place near a mall, and there was a Cheesecake Factory. We would go there for our lunch breaks, and just that was when I just really hated my job. So I was like, I need some serotonin. So let's go get.
Do you remember what you would order?
Calories of food.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that was the thing. So when I worked there, and again, this was a long time ago, I was very young. My body handled things differently. I'd be like, I'll take that whole thing of chicken piccata, sure. And now I'm like, how the hell did I do that? Do you remember what you would order at all, or what your favorite cheesecake was?
I would usually just the mac and cheese balls was always a thing. Honestly, I don't want to say that I would just get a burger, but I think I usually just get a burger with like the bacon guacamole burger or something like that.
I mean that checks out right now. This answer checks out for this, so I'm fine with it. My favorite cheesecake was, and just because I remember the name, Craig's Crazy Carrot Cake Cheesecake. Why it was that name, I'm sure I studied it.
I'm surprised I never got that. That sounds like something I would have ordered.
It was like carrot cake plus cheesecake and then more carrot cake on it. Just ridiculous.
I love
it. Not served all day at most fast food chains. The breakfast chapter is next with McDonald's McMuffin, Whataburger, honey butter chicken biscuit. Say that 10 times fast. Cracker Barrel hash brown casserole. IHOP New York cheesecake pancakes, Burger King French toast sticks, and Starbucks pumpkin cream cheese muffins. What was a must-have fast food breakfast item you knew would have to be in this chapter from the jump when you started writing this?
Probably the McMuffin is the thing that I ate the most. That was definitely something that, like, like I said, when I was working, just the drive-through McDonald's, I'd get 2 of those with, some hash browns. The honey butter chicken biscuit was another one, just because that was the first thing. So my wife is from Texas, and when I started doing all this, and I started finding, and I found out, or I started asking her about like things from Texas that she wanted. I'm like, what's the thing from Whataburger? And she was like, oh, honey butter chicken biscuit. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I like all those words.
Right.
So yeah, those, and then I don't know.
I'm looking at that now.
Those, and then I actually, the French toast sticks. Those are actually vegan. The Burger King's French toast sticks. So that was one of the rare things. I think those and like the Cajun fries from Five Guys were 2 things that I was actually able to go get that I'd never had before. And then
nice.
I was able to eat them and be like, oh, I can do this, but better.
Yeah. How did you? So it's interesting you're saying you hadn't tried everything, which I'm not surprised. There's so much in the book. Like, how would you have tried all of these
It's
items?
mostly the regional stuff that I haven't tried.
Well, so how then did you gauge that? Did you take it to people to test, or did you get it to a place where you were like, this is freaking delicious, so this is a go?
Yeah, I think that was it. Because the thing was, like, when people think that there's a very obvious, I mean, that there's a very big misconception about vegan food not being good or as good as non-vegan food. And I know for a fact that, it doesn't matter if it's vegan or not vegan. If you make something from scratch at home, for the most part, there's certain things that I think like the industrial, like Willy Wonka machines can just do that you can't do at home.
Sure.
But for the most part, sandwiches, burgers, that sort of thing, you can do that much better at home. So I knew that, like, based off of how much better some of the stuff that I was making was versus what I remember it tasting like, I just figured, like, these biscuits and gravy that I made, even though I've never had the Bojangles version, this is really good. So even if I was someone who was familiar with the Bojangles version, and if I ate this, like, actually, I had one person tell me, oh, they complained about the chow mein noodles I made from Panda Express. They said, these don't taste anything like Panda Express. They taste a lot better. So if you want Panda Express ones, this is not the recipe for you. And I was just like, but it doesn't taste like it because it tastes better. What's wrong with that?
I mean, that's when you title it better than Panda Express.
Right.
That's
what I said. I because the chow mein, I got it and I was like, it's not very good. Like, you can just you could literally just like add more flavor to it and it'll be better.
Yeah. So true. Especially when stuff is mass produced like that too. Yeah. I was curious how you sort of gauge that, but that'll
yeah, in retrospect, I kind of wish that I would have, just for my own like peace of mind, like had people who had it like recipe test it, like just reach out to people on Instagram who were, lived in those states where they had access to these places.
Nah, I think you did okay. Everything looks exactly like the stuff. You know what I mean? It's all right. In retrospect,
it's probably fine.
Yeah, I don't think you got to worry about it. And of course, a vegan fast food book would not be complete without a chapter for desserts. So we have desserts, everything from Krispy Kreme donuts to a Wendy's Frosty. And since this book has come out, which dessert item have you seen sort of be the most popular dessert item from this book that people have made?
Oh, probably the Krispy Kreme, I would say. Are the ones that I've seen the people make the most.
I get that.
Which makes sense. That's like, I feel like that's kind of like, some of these, like the White Castle cheesecake on a stick. I just did that because I was like, that was, again, when I was researching, like, fast food desserts. that one just stuck out to me. I'm like, that's cool. We get to make a cheesesteak and then put it on a stick. Like, that's fun. I like that.
Yep.
Even though
Yeah.
I'd never heard of it before, I was like, I kind of want to put that in the book.
Yeah. I'm eyeing the McDonald's apple pie here. I mean,
Those were really good too. And actually, I thought those were vegan, and they're not. There's what is it, L-cysteine or whatever, where it's like the duck feather thing.
I wonder if that means, I mean, it's not the same thing, so those, and you may know the answer to this, those little like hand pies that are inconvenience, really
The
trashy,
Hostess
terrible
ones.
for you. Hostess and other brands does them as well. They have like the glaze over them. I always thought they were vegan when I looked at the labels, but I wonder if they have something like that in there as
I
well.
don't know. I feel like if the Hostess pies were vegan, I would know about that because I used to love those.
You're like, I would have thrown down on that by now. And of course,
I just feel like I would have seen that on one of those like accidentally vegan snacks.
oh yeah.
posts or something.
Yeah. And I'm gonna give a shout out. You said it once already, but I want everyone to know that the Cinnabon classic roll exists in this book, and you need to make it at home. And Sonic Cherry Limeade. I mean, come on, the list goes on. It's fantastic. And my list from this book keeps getting bigger. But I have to be careful because I love to cook, so I'll just make everything, and then I'll just have all these indulgent things. So I got to find my balance with it. Got to find my balance. But that's vegan fast food for everyone. And now it's time for your book brag, Watson. This is the part where I ask you to tell me something about this book that you're most proud about, or something you want to brag about.
Oh,
You've been invited to brag.
honestly, like, I think I'm just really proud that it's cool to have like a physical thing that you made, and I've done creative stuff ever since I was 12 years old, and I actually did do like kind of a jazz record, 2009, 2000, when was it? 2009. And that was also something where I was like, I played drums ever since I was 12.
Okay.
And I started writing like jazz and classical music in my 20s, even though I had no training. I didn't know what I was doing. And I just kind of like brute forced like an album out of it. And so that was really cool. And this is kind of like the next like kind of creative thing that I've done, where I also feel like I didn't really know what I was doing, and I kind of just was going with the flow and just trying to figure things out as I was going. So for me, just the fact, like, I definitely think that like this is like kind of one of those like cool milestone kind of creative things that I've done in my life, which like there isn't like a specific thing that I'm
Sure.
proud of, like a specific recipe. I guess I really like the photographs maybe, but like just in general, it's especially, I mean, how much work it is to do this,
Sure.
to do these things, this cookbook. So, especially for someone like me who has like really bad ADD, and
it's a lot to focus in and get it. Like, it's a constant to-do list, and then your
Yes.
brain is constantly going, oh wait, what about maybe one more like quarter teaspoon in this, maybe that'll be better, so I'll retest it later. It's like, it's just constantly going. So
and then I'll get then sometimes you get notes from people that'll say, hey, I made this recipe, but this thing was kind of off, and you're like, oh no, did I screw that up? And then you have to like go and redo the recipe to make sure you didn't screw it up. Like, it's just this constant like I have like a lot. I call myself a lazy perfectionist because it's kind of how I feel. Like I want things to be perfect, but I also don't want to like work that much.
or overthink it either. I may actually steal that, lazy perfectionist. That works. Is there a vegan fast food volume 2 in your future, do you think? Are you like one and done? I'm not doing this again.
No, I definitely think I could do it again, but yeah, it'll probably be a while, just because right now I'm kind of focusing on the YouTube, and I actually just finally like monetized my blog.
Great.
Which
I saw you put up a whole new blog, didn't you?
Yeah,
awesome.
I didn't know that you could make money with websites. This is what I mean by I don't really know what I'm doing. Like, all of this was just like very like accidental. Like, I just started posting stuff on Instagram, and then it just got like popular, and I was like, oh, I guess I should, and also like the pandemic happened, and I didn't have a job, so I was like, I guess I'll just make burgers and take photos of them,
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. It's awesome that I've looked at the new site and it's up and running, and I'm glad you're able to take advantage of it. But that is a crazy part of it, right? All of this stuff, the content we're creating, like of course there's pathways for income in it, and some people are. I'm not on top of it. I never am. Like I'm always like, oh wait, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. So you actually gave me great comfort to know I wasn't the only one in that space.
No, I mean, it's the kind of thing where like all this information is available. I could probably Google this and it would be, but whenever I do, it's like so overwhelming that I'm just like, I'll worry about it later.
Same, always, all the time. That's why you're the first video guest after 52 episodes. Everyone's like, there should be video for the podcast. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get to that. But here we are, and I appreciate it. And now, are you ready for your rapid fire baker's dozen of questions?
I'm as ready as I'll ever be, I guess.
Fantastic. Here we go. Number 1, what's your favorite spice to cook with?
Oh, probably chipotle powder.
Very good.
Like spice. When you say spice, do you mean spicy spice or just like in general?
Favorite spice or herb? Anything, anything like that. Are you changing your answer?
Oh man, I guess it's either maybe smoked paprika then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is there one that you use like that's the most common for you? Smoked paprika, maybe.
If there's whole garlic and onion in a dish, then yeah, probably smoked paprika.
I love that. And what's a must-have tool in the kitchen?
Besides the obvious, like a skillet.
Right.
Like for me, I know this is gonna be kind of on the nose, but like a burger iron.
I need to get one. Every time I watch your
You're
videos,
like $15.
I know. See, it's that thing. See, lazy
They're also
perfectionist.
good. I recently discovered they're great for forming patties too. You know how usually you form a patty with your hand or with a burger press? You just go bam, like that.
Oh yeah, it's on your videos. You doing that, right?
Yeah.
Every time I watch one of your videos, I'm like, God damn, I need to order one. So it's on the list. What's your favorite pasta shape?
Ooh. Man, you're asking me all these questions that I've never even pondered.
I'm stepping outside of the burger zone.
Recently I've been into what is it? Rigatonis, the bigger guys.
Very good. I love rigatoni.
Yeah.
Cupcake or donut?
Donut. Yeah.
Cheese pizza or loaded with toppings?
What kind of pizza? Thin or thick? Pan?
Let's say pan. Good
if
question.
It's pan pizza than just cheese. Actually, you know what? I think in general I'm more of a just cheese sort of guy.
It's interesting. I make all these things, but then I'm very much like a purist at heart. Like I want to have just a burger sometimes with just like mustard and ketchup and pickles, maybe.
Absolutely. That would be if it was like a last meal or a last burger sort of thing.
Yeah.
I would probably choose like a burger with grilled onions, pickles, and mustard or something.
Like simple. Yeah. It's I hear you. I'm with you. So just cheese for me too. What's a vegan documentary you would suggest to someone listening right now?
Oh, I haven't watched a lot of them.
I haven't either. So I was hoping you could suggest one for me.
So I haven't actually really watched any of them.
Because you're there. You're vegan.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why I never watched any of them was because I knew that they would make me be uncomfortable about eating animals. And the only one that I watched 90 seconds of Dairy is Scary. That's actually how I went vegan. I had already made a resolution to go vegan in 2018, New Year's Eve. Me and my wife, then girlfriend, I was like, let's go vegan by the end of the year. And she's like, okay. And I was just on YouTube. I was probably searching vegan recipes, and YouTube said, hey, what about Dairy is Scary? And I was like, I've heard of this. All right, let me see how bad it is. And I literally made it to the part where the guy was shoving his fist up a cow's ass, and there was like poop all over his arm. And I was like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to do it anymore. And that literally was like what turned me vegan. Like at least what finally pushed me into it.
Yeah,
I've only seen 90 seconds of a documentary.
Well, and that's the thing. I have watched them, but I feel like I need to watch more so that when people like that, I can say, oh, you could watch this, but it's like, it's so hard to watch and I'm already vegan. So I'm like, this is difficult. So
I saw some footage of like pigs being gassed for like 10 seconds and I was crying. Like I
Yeah.
can't. I physically like can't watch that stuff. It just
Yeah.
is too damaging.
I mean, yes, we care. We care, and it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
I'll get on a lighter question for you then. A lighter question. What is
Sorry.
a show?
I think
No,
it's a dark
please.
side.
What is a show, not a documentary? What is a show you could have, or you have, or you want to binge watch in any of those? Like either you have already, or one that you want to binge watch.
First thing that pops into my head was Mad Men. I rewatched that. I watched it the first time and then I rewatched it the second time. I think what I love about Mad Men is it's one of those shows where you just notice things every time you
Sure.
watch it.
I've only watched a couple episodes. It's a slow start, right?
It's definitely a slow. I mean, the whole show is very slow.
Okay. Maybe I'll give it another.
It's
go.
just a long character study, basically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then shows that I want to binge watch. I'm looking forward to the new Party Down.
There's a new one coming out? Is it a new variation, or is it like, because they did what, 2 seasons before? Same cast.
I didn't realize it was 15 years ago. I thought, that was like 6 or 7 years ago. It was 15 years ago.
Same cast.
Yeah.
Wow. When is that coming out? Do you know?
I'm
gonna look that up. I'm writing it down now. I loved that show, and I
Yeah,
feel
me
like
too.
it was 2 seasons, right?
Yeah, and then I think Adam Scott got they put him on Parks and Rec.
Got you, which I also love. I love Parks and Rec. Yeah, Party Down, and Jane Lynch was in season 1, and then what? Megan Mullally was in season 2, right?
Yes, I believe so.
But then I feel like the rest of the cast sort of stayed the same. Yeah, I did love that show. Party Down, season 3. Didn't know. Good to know. That's great. Pancakes or waffles?
Waffles, yeah.
Activity you enjoy besides cooking?
Activity. This is very like 45-year-old man of me, but I like going on walks.
That's great. I do too. It's all right.
That's probably the things I do the most during the day is cooking and walking.
Yep. Do you have any dogs that you take for a walk?
No, we're thinking about getting a dog. We had a cat who passed away in May. I didn't take him on walks. I tried to take him outside. He did not like it. So.
I was gonna say I did that with a cat once. They did not like it. I'm sorry.
I barely made it outside. And he was digging his claws into me. I was like, it's all right.
Not having it. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
More of a morning person, but yeah, actually, I used to be a night owl, but I think I'm usually in bed by like 10 or 11 at the latest now.
And then you're up at 5 a.m. for a morning walk, it sounds like.
Totally.
Favorite vegan restaurant you've had recently?
Gosh, I always whenever I think about this, I think of Crossroads Kitchen.
Okay. Yeah.
Have you been? Wait, where are you? I forget. You're in.
I'm in Atlanta now. I used to be in New York, but I have had Crossroads before.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. I think it's just because it's such a unique restaurant. There aren't a lot like it. You know what I mean? That I know of.
I went by myself when I went because I was traveling for something and I was alone, and I was like, oh, I've got to go try Crossroads. And this was a few years ago. And that was like my biggest regret when I went, is I was like, I need a few people with me, because like I wanted to order and try so many things. And I think I did. I think I ended up ordering like 3 things. And I was like, I feel so bananas right now doing this. And I was like, but what am I going to do? I'm here and I don't have the chance to come here all the time. So I'm just going to lean into it.
Yeah.
But I can understand that being a good one you've went to recently. But now, before you were vegan, favorite or most frequented fast food establishment?
Well, probably it's a toss-up between Del Taco, Carl's Jr., and Jack in the Box.
Okay.
Those, when I was in my 20s and 30s, those were I called it the holy trinity of fast food for me, because I just love those ones, and I always lived near them for some weird reason.
I love that you're like, choose one, please. Here's 3. I've got 3 for you. I mean, that is on brand. That's good. And your favorite is, what is a place you would like to go on vacation? I mean, your last one. I mean, not your favorite. Did I say favorite? I was thinking fast food favorites. Your last question, place you want to go on vacation.
place I would go, like outside of the U.S. or in the
Anywhere
US?
you want to go. Is there some place on your list where you're like, ooh, gotta go?
I've always wanted to go to like Argentina or Chile or Thailand. I can't pick a
That's
single
all right.
place.
You're allowed to have
Um,
goals.
I don't know. I used to travel out of the country. I used to go out of the country once a year, and I think the last place I went was Bolivia, but that was, gosh, yeah, like 15 years ago.
Okay.
But yeah, I honestly, I would be cool going just about anywhere. I haven't left the state, and except for to go to Texas.
Where's your wife at? And where's she from in Texas? So when you go visit Texas, where
She's
are you
from
visiting?
Spring, which is right outside of Houston. It's like
Okay.
45 minutes from Houston.
There you go.
It's like a little suburb. I love going out there and visiting Texas. It's like it's so different from out here, but in some ways it's also very similar. It's kind of weird, but it's very weird how no matter where you go in the country, like the suburbs, like there's like this weird kind of creepy like monoculture or something like that.
I was gonna say like suburban feel, essentially. Just
it's
the
just
the blanket. Yeah.
like if you like dropped me off here and didn't tell me where I was, I'd be like, oh, I'm in Camarillo, California, except for there's no mountains. Like that's the only difference.
Right. Well, we've got to you need to think about then where your vacation place will be. We'll start building you a bucket
Maybe
list
Greece.
of places. There we go. There you did it. And that's your rapid fire round of questions. We'll end it off there with Greece. Well, please tell everyone where they can find you on social media and the internet.
theburgerdude.com, and then YouTube, all of those places. It's just The Burger Dude, TikTok, all that sort of stuff.
Perfect. And everyone go get a copy of Vegan Fast Food. Let me hold that on the screen there. Vegan Fast Food, copycat burgers, tacos, fried chicken, milkshakes, and more by Brian Watson, aka The Burger Dude, everywhere books are sold. So great to meet you. Thank you for being on and just
thank you for having me.
Taking the time to chat today. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Keep On Cookin'. Be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review if you like the podcast. It helps a lot.
Yeah. And get more information on the podcast, Dustin's Cookbooks, the Vegan Roadie series, and sign up for our newsletter at veganroadie.com.
And of course, follow us at The Vegan Roadie on all social media platforms. Now get in the kitchen and keep on cooking. And hey, remember, it's nice to be nice. This has been a Muzzy Cat production.